Well, the one advantage of the gimbal is that I can do a tracking shot, and this is the morning after, so we get to find out whether it is time for... Okay, it looked like the lens was scratched. Yeah, the light doesn't help. Where was I? All right, let's start over. Well, having taken care of that interior electrical work, it's time to put the front suspension on and see how close we are to actually driving this thing. Just spent 20 minutes looking for the lithium grease that I had open just, a day or two ago. Well, that could use a wiping. That's pretty clean when I picked it up. Not so much anymore. I'm specifically memorializing this part so that I can look back at the tape when this falls out of the transmission and figure out what I did wrong. This will come up in this direction, and that's fine. Match the splines. Maybe. I've got the right end. Maybe just, okay, that was just not sufficiently. Didn't actually grab the hammer for whatever reason, but I should have. What I also need to do is figure out where I set down the ring. That looks kind of old. To reuse these up to 4 times, but these look kind of older, and I think I'm not going to reuse them. However, I can use it to protect the end here. Let me give it a good tap. Okay, that should not come out. That also should not... Really? Did I just make it impossible to get this off the end? Oh, shit. Okay, good. There. I had a much newer looking one laying around, and if I can figure out where that went, I can actually go ahead and apply it, and if not, I have new ones. And I just went back and reviewed the tape because I was struggling with this so that I could figure out which angle I had got it, because I got it pretty easily once I found the right angle. And I kind of realized that this is mirroring everything, and I'm going to have to look back and see if it always did that, because I don't think it always did. And yeah, like I'm working on the front of the driver's side and looking, and like the car is extending on the exact opposite direction it should be. So now I'm kind of worried that it's mirroring me. Like, yeah, it's mirroring me on the screen. Now I gotta figure out how to turn that off. Well, that was annoying. There goes an entire afternoon. And if my mental health ever ends up poor, it won't be anything out of the ER, it'll be this fucking car project. You may have noticed a slight pause in the video while I kind of had connector issues, and it turned out that the I'd snipped the wires on the old alternator because I was having so much trouble getting the connector off, and then when I got the engine in place and found the alternator, I'm like, oh crap, I left that connector on there because it was a pain in the ass to get off. Now I have to actually get it off, and should have just spent the time doing it right the first time. Or maybe, you know, later when I had the engine just sitting there in front of me and everything was easily reachable. Perversely, apparently I found the right angle on the first try and got this off in like 2 seconds, and it's a nice little 3-pin here, which you may or may not be able to see well. So, nice little 3-pin thing. And the closest wire I had was this little 2-pin thing here, and it's the same color, roughly the same shape, and had me freaked out a little bit that maybe they changed the alternator. And then I went back to the original engine that was in this car, and it too had 3 pins. I'm like, oh, we are now developing Jason Kodat in the case of the missing plug, which is rather more boring than a Nancy Drew in the case of the overcomplicated bong or other things. But I did eventually find where this went, and that's right here, this little thing here. So that makes sense. And I went back to the black car and found that way down on the firewall here is the actual alternator plug, and I had simply never pulled it up high enough to actually see it. So now I have. Yay. So here's me making the decision to do something off camera, because a common source for an oil leak in these cars is the VCT solenoid here on the top of the engine. And I pulled the one from the other engine because obviously this had a leak in it, and that's a good place to start. And kind of figured that was an easy thing that I could do off camera because this was going to be no drama. And well, this is the one from the other car. This is the one from the other car. This is the one from this car. Which one of these is not like the other? So now I rather unexpectedly need to fish the broken part out of the engine, which hopefully will not be... Yeah. Should know better than to hope a thing would not be challenging, my god. 5 minutes later. There we go. Well, I guess I can't reuse that. That'll be an amusing picture for the SVT focus group, though. Realistically, if I'm bothering, I should have just bought a new one, right? Oh, and they say that the seal on this can be a little bit challenging to get right, so... Alright, now I'll go see if there's a torque spec for that, and we can go from there. And with that, I believe that I am ready to put fluids back in here and see if there's any leaks. Well, it's a bit of a good thing that I made a last-minute check, because I discovered under the engine that although I'd connected one of the radiator hoses, the clamp had rusted open, and the hose came right off. So I just spent a little while doing that. It would have blown right off under pressure, I'm sure. So now we get to see what the coolant capacity is here. Obviously the real test will be what happens when I have this under pressure. It is the queen of tests, if you will. Okay, I guess I was supposed to detach the heater hose from the engine and fill the cooling system through the hose until it begins to flow from the fitting on the engine. It's kind of the wrong way around, I guess. I don't know if this is exactly which hose they are referring to, but this is the hose that I am using. Assuming, of course, that I can actually manage to get this separated. Smart, I would have just fucking left this off. If I was smart, I wouldn't be doing stage rally without a couple of years of, you know, any racing really under my belt. Or possibly at all. Now the trick is going to just be pouring this slowly so that I don't end up wasting gallons and gallons. Kind of convenient that this fits very snugly. Oh, there we go. Now the good news is, because I didn't change the rack on this, it won't take nearly as much as last time. Downside is that the plastic has become opaque enough over time that I'm not convinced I can actually see the level here. Yeah, because there's very clearly a visible fluid reflection. Oh, maybe a little overkill. Oh yeah. Okay, well, you know what, I'll turn it back and wheel back and forth a couple times and see what happens there. Obviously this won't be complete until I pressure bleed the brakes, and transmission for that matter. Well, you know what, did I leave any bleeders open? Oh shit. Out here after dinner to look and see if there's any increase in the puddle size. I took some pictures so I can compare, and seems to be about the same, so that's good. We'll see what it looks like in the morning. The next day. One of the fun things about a gimbal is that it makes for a really nice tracking shot. And this is the morning after, so we get to discover whether indeed we are developing any new leaks. And if anything, let me pull up the phone here and figure out. I think these are about the same. Well, I guess you can tell I must be learning something, because that is not the most that I have ever struggled with the getting the front suspension to sit on the ball joints. So it doesn't all go poorly all the time. In either case, getting the fluids in there means that I'm really close to having this thing running, test firing the engine, and oh, so close I can taste it, actually. Really looking forward to making sure that this works now that I'm putting it back together. There's no reason it shouldn't, but it gets it that much closer to competition ready. So, see you in the future. Now this is the part where I have to be a little bit careful with the video, because if I lean in too close, the reflection from the hood starts to turn me into Oompa Loompa orange, which is rather disturbing a little bit.